Hello folks, welcome back to the channel. Hope everybody is well. For those of you on the East Coast that are affected by Hurricane Debbie, I hope everybody is okay. I know it's caused a lot of flooding, particularly in the deep south here in Virginia. We're just getting a lot of rains, even though they have cautioned us to beware of flooding coming. Anyhow, guys, this is my second Aston Martin DBR9 from Team LMP Motorsports, a French team that was founded back in 2010 by Guillaume Lecluse and V. Mijon. This one, the 007, I absolutely had to have this when I sold 007, that competed in the GT Tour of 2011. I believe this was a French GT Tour, because I know this, as mentioned, this was a French team. And if you take a close look at this, it's kind of interesting. It's got this carbon weave finish all over it with pink accents, and of course I thought, I guess with CDVI as the sponsor, this probably has something to do with digital coding. I'm not sure. Maybe Petito can tell us if he's familiar with them. Anyhow, it is what it is. Now, back in 2011, these were GT1 race cars, and this was a collaboration between Aston Martin and ProDrive, who still make the Aston Martin Vantages today. This particular model made its debut in 2011, and by 2011, the year that this car competed in the GT Tour Series, the end of the DBR9 was over, as the Aston Martin Vantage came right behind it. Now, these particular cars were made famous by two LMGT1 class wins at Le Mans in 2007 and 2008, and they won two FIA GT1 championships in 2006 and 2011. Now, I'm sure most of you know that these were front-engine cars, and they featured a 6-liter, 6,000cc aluminum DOHC 48-valve V12 naturally aspirated engine, and produces 625 brake horsepower with a top speed of 195 miles an hour. Now, what I thought was really interesting was that they noted that Le Mans organizers required the installation of air conditioners, and I assume that was all cars at that time. But ProDrive went one step further by putting heat-resistant white roofs on all new cars to assist in keeping cockpit temperatures down. And you can see that clearly on this car. And if you've taken a look at my other video on the other ProDrive car that I have, it features that as well. As I mentioned, this one was really cool, being numbered 007, and obviously in tribute to that of James Bond. Now, one thing that's cool about Spark cars is you have the names of the drivers on the side, even though they only give you the first initial and the last name, so you've got to look them up. This particular car was driven by Paul Lamec from France, as well as Frédéric Gabillon, also French, successful, I understand, in the NASCAR Whelen Euro Series. Now, this is a 143 scale Spark model. This is a limited edition model. Comes on this white wooden base, and you can see the French-themed box and the jewel cover behind it. All very standard with Spark models of their regular issues. This is a limited edition model, this one being 246, or excuse me, it's 346 out of 500 produced. It is a very, very cool model. I particularly like the finish. It's wrapped in this carbon fiber weave that you see there, along with these white accents all along the wheel arch. I don't really know what they are. I suspect it has something to do with CDVI, and I'm not sure who they are. Maybe those of you who are French can fill us in on that. Anyhow, otherwise it has the white hood and the white roof that we mentioned previously. Like all Spark models, attention to detail on this is actually exceptional. Most of it, I swear by the naked eye, you can't really see. You almost have to get, and I do have what are called jeweler's magnifiers that I use to eyeball all my cars. I've had those for years, as I used to. Back in the day, I used to make football figures, and I would paint them and decal them all up. Not European football, but American NFL football, and I have all 32 teams done in both their home and away jerseys, as well as a bunch of throwback team uniforms. Really, really cool stuff. So I have a modeling history, even though I haven't done much as of late. Consequently, I really appreciate the attention to detail that Spark does with all their models, and I think if you have this, you would agree. Now, speaking of attention to detail, if you notice, the Spark models usually always have the tow hooks on most of their cars, and you can clearly see that This is a rather large one, actually almost kind of overdone, I think, as you can see there. The exhaust pipes are separate pieces, photo-etched pieces that virtually stick out of it. They're just not painted, silver pieces, whatever. And you notice the carbon fiber finish abounds all over it. You can see the Aston Martin logo just above the Motul decal that you have on it. And of course, the back of the base, he said this is number 356 out of 500 made. I like that nice touch that Spark does. The rear wing really doesn't have anything on it. It's just got carbon fiber weave. But what I do like, I love the fuel inlets. And you can see as I stick this in here, these are actually open valves, open to the plexiglass roof that you have on it, and you can actually fuel it from other side without having to make any adjustments. Almost kind of like the Porsche does today. If you take a look in there, you've got really nice cabin detail. You can see from the rear there is only one aerial in the car. You see that on the white roof that we mentioned previously, and of course you have the names of the drivers right behind the B pillar here on this car as well. Now, the fact that this ran in the French GT series, you have the French flag on the front of the car, and you notice the pink accents that you have on it around the nose of the car and along the roof line. I think that probably had to do with breast cancer. I'm not sure, but I suspect that's what it is, because otherwise it kind of takes away from it. Otherwise, detail is very, very sharp. I do think the hood is extremely busy, as is typical of a lot of cars that are private entries that don't have factory support. They look for as many sponsors as they can to pay for it. Interior detail is really quite sharp on this car. Take a look in there. You can see all sorts of, looks like gauges and other decals on the dashboard of the car. And if you look inside, you can clearly see the seatbelt, steering wheels, and all sorts of other electronic components and safety devices in there. The number 007, I love that you have right beneath the windshield banner. I just like 007, and I think the DBR9 is just a great looking car. Hey folks, that was a rather long-winded review of this car. Hope you've enjoyed it. See you next time. We'll either do a prototype or another F1 car. If you have any preference, let me know in the comment sections. See ya.